Breakfast Club.
Yeah. We have
there we are.
Yeah.
Magic notification on Chrome. I love that, and I mean that sarcastically.
Yeah. I'll get mine at like 2:00 this afternoon.
Oh, yeah. That's like my phone. My messages on my phone are like that. I sent you a message. Well, I just got it 15 hours later.
Yeah, it'll tell me, yeah, you guys are live. It'll freak me out because I'm like, am I?
Yeah.
Is my camera active? Am I doing a ghost stream?
Yeah, I always go, what the? Oh, that's us. That's why I said a couple times, some damn indie folk people are live. Same time we're live. So what's up, buddy? How you doing, man?
Oh, I am doing well. I have
wide awake this time. Sorry that we didn't get on the air right at 9 o'clock, but
yeah,
that's the way it runs.
Yeah.
Do we have a link for the Facebook for the live feed or for the YouTube?
We do. I can send it to you. Give me 1 second.
Please do. Let's let everybody know that we're rolling.
All right. There we go.
That was it too. I heard the ding.
All right, let's see here. That we know what we have. And let's see who. Trico Lutkins is in the chat. Good morning, guys. Good morning, Trico. It is a very looks like it's gonna be a sunny Thursday. Looking out my window here.
It'll be a sane Thursday.
Yeah, I have to get up and go to set up for a con.
You do, yes, yeah. Big Michigan.
Yeah. You know they should call it Michigan, but it's Michigan Comic Con. But yeah, I gotta go do some setting up, but that can't start till about 2 this afternoon. So until then, I'm just making sure everything's together. You know, Comic-Con prep for certain shows is just it's the worst. It's the worst. Trying to get
just get a couple of con boxes and stash them in your basement or in wherever in a corner, and just whenever it's time to go, just go.
Yeah,
you write down everything you sold anyway. Just go out and dig that out of your stock and replace it. Takes maybe an hour and a half, and load up out the door.
I forgot to hit our intro so people know who we are. But we got something to talk about this morning.
Run the intro first, and then we can boast who we are afterwards.
Yeah, alrighty. Yeah.
I know the intro is fancy, but is there any way that you can change the question on the search bar?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, from week to week, you're probably not, huh? Because it's all part of the intro.
No, I can change it from week to week. It just requires a new render, but it's not really a problem. Why? What do you think can change it to?
Oh, we can change it to all sorts of weird things. What universe are we on today?
Let's see here.
That wasn't me.
Yeah, it was my computer.
Yeah,
letting me know that.
So hey, we should introduce ourselves.
Yeah, you go first this time. How about that? That way,
yeah. Just as I was loading up the chat to take a look. Not a problem. Hey, everybody. Hello. How are you? I'm Randy Zimmerman. I do the Zim Geek channel on YouTube. We'll go in reverse order. I do the Zim Geek channel on YouTube where I put up content talking about comics and teach people how to cartoon because it's so easy to do. And I did Flint Comics for about 10 years, which is a free-to-readers comics newspaper that I circulated around my hometown area, which is right around Flint, Michigan. Yeah, water problems and all. And did independent publishing for many, 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 many years, more years than I want to admit. And I am a commercial, I'm an award-winning commercial graphic artist, commercial and graphic artist, responsible for a lot of great advertising sequential art out there, so which is many times more profitable than doing comic book work. So I plan on doing videos on exactly how you too in your area can start looking for advantages of getting your sequential artwork out there to the normies and make a little money doing it. So
And
Okay.
and that for you is I mean,
Co-creator of Tales from the Universe, co-founder of Tales from the Universe, Arrow Comics, Massive Comics, Weeby Comics. Did work for too many independent publishers that some that count, most that don't. So it's all good. Is that enough?
no, that's good.
I can start listing titles. Spank the Monkey, creator, Spank the Monkey, War of the Worlds. That's the biggest thing that I've probably written, and I'm want to get back into writing again because the writing credit on War of the Worlds that I got from Caliber, I'm especially proud of. Still available on Amazon. Anyway, and very many libraries anymore. I'm really happy with that book. So,
a publisher of how many books?
Oh my God. Don't ask me. Publisher of how many books? Probably, I don't know, 237 or so.
Yeah.
You know,
we're going to we're gonna put that up. There's gonna be a new thing. How many books we publish? Because I'm real sad.
Then I'll have to go back. I'll have to go. How many books you produced or how many books you printed? Because there's like 100. There's exactly 100 Flint comics. So there's 100 right there.
Yeah.
Maybe we should do a cutoff point, say, 2012 or so. How many books have you printed since 2012?
Yeah, 2012, 2013. Yeah, 2012. Yeah.
Because you're a relatively young guy. So
yeah. You guys gotta give me
you're not nearly as moldy as me.
I need a crutch. I need a
crutch.
You guys gotta give me the I guess is it in golf it'd be called a handicap? I need a handicap. I need
handicap.
Yeah.
How many years have you been in the business, son? Yeah. That's your handicap.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I am
who are you?
I'm Varian Grant, co-founder of Last Call Comics, as well as founder of Indie Vault, IndieVault.com, Indie Vault Radio, and Indie Vault TV. I have friends in spite of myself.
I think we all have friends in spite of ourselves.
As far as the comic book community is concerned, I've been doing comics since about 2008. Sometimes I just want to give it all up and become a handsome billionaire
in this universe.
Yeah. If I could just, but I decided not to. I put the elation in public relations, and that's pretty much me. I publisher of a couple comics. Couple of
Last Call Comics.
Yeah. I did some under my old company, Unlimited Psycho, which no longer exists, but the books are out there.
Unlimited Psycho was limited.
It was Unlimited Psycho, yeah.
Yeah, but Unlimited Psycho is now limited.
Oh, yeah, it was limited, very limited.
Yeah.
So are our resources.
Very rare.
Yeah. Gabe is in the chat. How you doing, Gabe? How you doing this morning? Hope you're having a fine start to your day. We are, let's see here. It's just at 9:22, so 22 past the hour here in Michigan. We're at. Yeah, got to use.
I think it's everywhere. Everywhere would be 22 past the hour, right?
Yeah. I think that's how they do that. That's a really kind of cheap way to tell you what time it is. What time is it? Oh, it's 22 past the hour. What? I don't know the hour. Help.
Well, you have to do that when you're online because who knows who's listening to us. Hello, everybody out there in Indie Vault Radio Land. Thanks for listening in.
Yeah, it's 22 past your hour. I guarantee
22. You. It's not 20. Is it 22 past their hour? Because we started at the 13 mark.
Yeah.
It might not quite be 22 past the hour.
I visited Randy's house again yesterday. I took the 45-minute trip from my home to his, and he's still in the middle of cleaning his basement out.
Only it was a lot more cluttered than when you were here before.
You know what? I didn't get that. It actually, I thought it was actually a little bit more organized, but
I was a little more flattened out. That's what it was. Just spread out a little bit more.
Yeah,
I brought down some 6-foot tables. I've got comic long boxes spread all across the tables, and I'm slowly going through everything.
It kind of looks like a comic book store. Kind of looks like a comic book store down there.
Yeah, I could open a comic store just off of the wife's comics. I could open a comic book store. A lot of my comics growing up, I traded in for hardback books because that was the time that Russ Cockrum was kicking out those wonderful EC comic reprints.
Mm-hmm.
Like the brick that I have holding down my freezer is a Haunt of Fear, and I have bookends of Tales from the Crypt and all of that stuff. Just phenomenal work. That really increased my appreciation for EC comics because growing up, I thought, they were at Marvel and DC. I don't want to have anything to do with them.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to do superheroes, and those were superheroes. Those were horror comics, horror comics, war comics, comedy comics,
Mm-hmm.
Man, are they beautiful though. Just phenomenal. If you ever get a chance to get those Russ Cockrum volumes, you really need to pick them up, especially if you're lucky to see them at a show, because they're so worth it. They were shot right off of the originals before they broke them all down and sold them one story at a time. So all the stories were 8 pages. So, and the originals, even back then, was completely unaffordable. But the bound volumes are just amazing. Anyway,
I
digress.
I got a email this yesterday.
Cool.
From Indiegogo.
Awesome.
Asking me how I felt about some of the one of the comics I recently backed.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was an odd email.
No, I've gotten one of those for Cyberfrog.
Yeah.
So I guess once they get enough people complaining that the book is late, they send out are you being treated okay? Which is really cool,
Yeah, I wonder about those. If those are sometimes triggered by people who want to see certain campaigns fail. If those,
it is enough people. A lot of people are buying into, especially the bigger crowdfunding campaigns, the CG stuff, I guess you would say. That I just got my notice over my phone that the Indie Volt is broadcasting on YouTube. Anyway, that there are people that buy into those campaigns just to cause trouble, and to be to write in the comment section, "Where's my book? Where's my book? Where's my book?"
Yeah.
Everything takes time. It takes a little listening and a little research, a little empathy, which is so rare in the comic market anymore. A little understanding of what everybody's situation is, and a little patience, especially when these guys are doing their first product and they've never done a comic. They've never produced a whole comic before. You and I, we've produced a lot of comics. I mean, we could walk into a midstream company right now and know what we're doing pretty much. But a lot of these guys that work as a cog, people that have only been, and I mean cog, COG, that have worked in the big machine and only have done one job at a time, don't know how the big machine works. And a lot of these guys are figuring out how the big machine works, one mistake at a time. So that's the importance of doing podcasts like this, to let people know, what we know, so that they can be better prepared when they go out and do their own campaigns.
Yeah. Yeah.
So our experience has got to be worth something.
Yeah.
Other than kicking ourselves in the ass.
Yeah. You would
shouldn't have done that. Yeah.
Yeah. I've learned some very valuable.
Back when I was printing Arrow, I was so happy that Printing Press and Litho was just across the river in Windsor from Detroit, because I could drive an hour down and drop off the original myself. And Printy had done, really, they were the big guys to do the independent alternative books, the newsprint, black and white newsprint comics like Cerebus, because they had printed every Cerebus from the start. And I figured they were the very best publisher for that kind of work, because they've made all the mistakes on Cerebus that you could probably make ever printing. So they knew how to do a book and do it efficiently.
Yeah. I let's see here.
It's just you gotta do your research on your printers. But anyway, sorry.
There are so many printers popping up online. I've recently started looking at prices. I feel that a lot of the prices are comparable.
Well, they are, because they figured out what the next guy is getting for it. If you sit there and if you really wanted to be cutthroat, these guys could really do it and bring the prices way down. But a lot of these guys have glorified Xerox machines that they rent, and that they run books off of. A lot of the POD guys. Yeah. And that's how they work. They have to make their rent, and they go out. They're usually the guys that are advertising real heavy, and they're just looking for work. They have a base starting price, because this guy over here has the same machine, and that's how much he's charging. So
yeah, there's no need for them to go below
Yep.
that guy because
and one thing that I've learned in my my way too many years of experience here is that it's so easy to get into a pigeonhole where you're looking at one format, one type of paper, one size, one publisher, one printer, one or two publishers, one printer. And that's it. And that's all you want to do when there's so many other options out there. You just have to look.
I found a guy he's actually using the printer that I already use.
Mm-hmm.
And his discount really isn't a discount because you still have to pay him shipping.
Yep.
And that requires way more. So I just go right to my printer. But there are so many different companies starting that print comics, and you have to be very careful because you could get a shipment. I know I've seen artists get their prints delivered to them at shows or at hotels, and they get to the show and they open that box up and they pull their prints out, and their prints are a mess or their books are a mess because they dealt with a new printer. They didn't know they didn't do the research.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't get a couple sample copies. If a printer won't send you a sample copy of a book that they've done, even if you offer to pay shipping, I wouldn't deal with them.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. Personally,
I like dealing with printers that I can get to and look at personally.
Yes.
So that I can see their operation. I have an idea of who they are and how they run things. Because that just fills me with more confidence. I have a printer, a print on demand guy who's 45 minutes from my house that some people like using and some people don't like using, but man, they're there,
Yeah, there was a me and you share. Well, you use a printer that I use.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to give any free publicity right now.
Not until they become a sponsor.
Yeah.
We don't want to name who they are and how great they
right, but
how competent their products are.
There were some ugly rumors going around, and they're still out there that they don't print their own comics. They send that all out, and I tell people no. I've been in the back of their building.
Yeah,
they've got presses back there. They're running. They're running comics. Who told you that? Who the person who told you that is lying because oh no, they told me they do all their work. No, that person was lying to you.
There are some printers. I know a printer that I get comics done that has to ship out the cover.
Mm-hmm.
They have to ship out the cover to have it printed, and then once the cover comes in, then they have everything else.
Right.
They're able to print the guts of the book. But
yeah, and that's fine. But
and I could see where somebody, if a printer gets into a tight spot, if they know somebody that's got the same machine, especially anymore, you can just call them up or email them and go, hey, I got this and this file in the cloud. If you want to run it off, I'll give you, 15 or whatever. I'll give you whatever off of your normal print prices and pocket the rest of the money. It's just got to get here. But the one thing that I found really, as far as service goes, works incredibly well is to pay in advance, especially with a printer that you can trust. I'm not saying that you should pay in advance for everybody because some guys out there, they promise you a job and it takes them 2 months. They promise you a job in 2 weeks. It takes them 2 months. But when I was printing the Flint Comics paper, it didn't have a staple or a cover on it. And those guys are awesome. If you want to know who they are, send me an email and I'll be real happy to tell you. But they would apologize to me if they were 3 days. If it took them 3 days, they would literally apologize every time. And I'm like, man, I'm so used to waiting 2 weeks that if it's longer than 2 days for you, you apologize to me. I love you guys.
Yeah,
you're amazing. They would normally turn that Flint Comics around in 24 hours. So boom, boom, it was done out the door. The third shift, I was told it kept the third shift guys awake.
They probably hated it.
It's all good. I gave them something to read too, because it was all funny papers. So it was good. Anyway, off topic again. Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's the breakfast buzz. There's no.
We're just wandering and drinking coffee.
Yeah. We helps us get our Thursday morning started. We have a now when we talk about people wanting to print their own books, it is important to remember that you need to familiarize yourself with printing, the setup, how you print a book. There are things that I've seen, mistakes I've seen made, but I'll tell everybody this, and this is my personal feeling. They will put in a book, and I've had artists come to me. I've seen books where they'll put the printer will buy a ad space in their book.
Oh, they discount your print bill.
That discount, excuse my language, I know it's very early in the morning, but that discount is shit.
All depends upon the printer.
That discount, you know? I've used three printers my entire comics career.
Mm-hmm.
The first one I did was Comics Express.
Okay.
And that was, from what I understand, that was owned by an independent comic creator.
Okay.
Of some note.
That was yeah. Light bulb just went off. I know who you're talking about now. Yeah.
And it took me a long time to get my books, but when I did it with now there was a price change between where I wanted to add. If I wanted to add on the inside front cover, if I wanted to add somewhere in the interiors, I believe they offered an interior ad, and then if I wanted the ad on the inside back cover or back cover.
A lot of printers offer that.
Yeah, and there was some price changes.
Mm-hmm.
But as I put in, and I didn't order a large number of books. I think I ordered about 75 to 100 because they had a minimum order of this first book I ever put out.
Okay.
And I did the price adjustments through each page position, and it was was almost an insult. It was like save $10 basically, or save,
Well, again, you're only printing 75 to 100 impressions too.
It's almost
I'm sure that's what they were looking at, is how much exposure they were getting for running that ad.
Yeah. It's almost like, you know what, I'm just not gonna do it. So to this day, I don't print. I just always have it selected without an ad because I'm like, my savings are minimal. And I've done that, and I've kind of I typed it in. I've typed 1,000 copies of a book, and how much would it be with an ad? And I'm always unimpressed with the number what I'm saving. So I'm like, screw it. I'll just pay the extra, 100 or so bucks.
Yeah. Well, that's that's your opinion.
Yeah. It's my opinion. I'm probably wrong, but
when you're printing a comic on a budget, a hardcore budget, like most of the independent guys do and have to do, every penny counts. So they have to take that into consideration. But definitely do your research, check around and see. Anymore, especially, you have to be careful with your shipping costs because a lot of those printing prices don't include shipping.
Yeah.
So also an advantage of using a local printer is that you can just drive down, pick it up, and that's like 1/10 on your cost compared to what they want to charge you to ship it right to your house.
And the printer
even though they're 2-3 counties away,
And the printer that we use offers a flat rate shipping.
Yeah.
Of $10. So they might want to consider that.
My newsprint guy used to charge me $75 every time I moved 10,000 copies of Flint Comics from point A or from their warehouse to the distribution warehouse. But the comics that I print for them, especially for clients in that, because I want to take it, there's a lot of joy in bringing your work to a client and handing it to them physically.
Yeah.
So I always run down there and pick them up. They don't pay any type of shipping charge for those comics because they're 20 minutes from my house. I just drive over, pick the thing up, and drive over to the client and say, "Here you go. Here are your comics." And it's always worth it because you get that big wide expression. It's like Christmas Day for some of these guys. We got our books in. This is awesome.
Trico look at his ass, Professor Trico, As he says, have you guys ever used Kraken? I heard they went out of business. Trico,
Good.
I've heard that as well. I've heard that they couldn't fill some orders and they had some financial problems, which led to them not being able to fill those orders.
I use a little Kraken every week, I have to admit. I do. It's my favorite rum. You mix a little bit of that with Coke, and man, I'm not, I'm not addicted, but a little alcohol every once in a while is good for the soul.
Yeah.
Other than that, no.
But I've never used them. I know that there are people who do use them and have used them. I never heard any complaints. But I don't believe that Kraken. I don't think they print it locally. I don't know if they print it in the States. I think
it's bottled out of New Jersey.
Yep.
Anyway, sorry.
New Jersey.
I
believe that they
still available in most stores.
I believe they printed Kraken printed outside of the country though. They may have they have though reached fallen into financial difficulty. I know they were trying to place those orders. That's
really become a problem with a lot of these larger tier publishers.
Mm-hmm.
It's the fact that when you do print out of the country, you're spinning the wheel when it comes to Trump and those tariffs.
Yeah.
Because they will hold that. The first minute he started threatening tariffs, there were shipping crates from China that sat on the dock for a long, long time. And if you're a mid-tier or upper-tier publisher, you have to hit those deadlines at Diamond, or Diamond, does the dirty as soon as they can, every chance they get.
Yeah.
So there were some publishers there that were just, the products went into disarray. My biggest problem with the Trump tariff threats is that website expired.
Yeah.
That's Kraken.
Yeah.
My biggest problem with the tariffs in Canada is that it keeps giving these newsprint guys an excuse to raise the price of base newsprint.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been a problem last couple of years.
Trico, the website is expired for Kraken print, so
they're done. They're done. They're over.
Yeah, they took down the website. They were using Squarespace.
What was the name of their site?
Krakenprint.com.
Let's be krakenprint.com. That just sounds bad though. Illicit. That'd be a good name for a S&M BD printing company. Kraken Print.
That or that they're gonna think we're all on drugs. Crack and print. Yeah,
crack and print.
Yeah,
we got your books.
Oh man.
Destiny keeps spinning that wheel. You don't get your weekly allowance.
Hurry.
Turn that dial. Come on.
Oh man, those guys, man, they're turning out. They're doing so many books. I don't understand how they do it.
Cracking them out.
Yeah. I don't know where all the money goes for that company though. The money just seems to disappear.
What money?
Yeah. Every time you answer the phone,
walk in there and there's this funny smell.
Yeah. Funny smell. Everyone's sniffling. Yeah.
Everything seems to be warmer towards the back room. I don't know why.
Yeah.
That's the counting room. You're not allowed in there. Anyway.
Everybody comes up the counting room naked. This can't be.
We'll stay up for 3 days straight to print your books. Absolutely. Yeah. We can do it. We can do it. Absolutely. Send it. We can do it.
Yeah. Trico says Kraken printing. We'll stay up for 3 days straight to print your books. LOL. That's true. Yeah. And Gabe says Kraken printing. We're testing negative on the drug test. It gets you fired.
We can't trust you.
Yeah. What do you mean you're not?
You came up clean.
Yeah. Get out.
Not good.
That is sad. Every time you lose a printer, it is sad because
print slogan is "We're steady as a rock." Anyway,
Own
own a piece of the rock, crack it.
We yeah, and this, I don't know what the burnt spoons are around there for. I don't understand what they do.
That's all backroom nonsense. Ignore that.
So Randy, we're you've been doing comics for quite a while, and I was we had to talk a little bit before we went on air, and we talked about harassment in the industry.
Yes, sexual harassment in the industry. Not just being in the industry is one large harassment, but sexual harassment.
And I got a chance last night to speak with Lewis, and he said that there were times where not just, and I've never experienced this, I don't know about you, but the men, the artists, are sexually harassed by some of the women that are at the show, some of the cosplayers.
I can't see that happening.
Yeah,
I can't. I'm sure there might be one or two brazen, Amazonians out there that that might press their way onto some unsuspecting artists, but that would be incredibly rare.
Yeah,
and probably not very reportable.
I was
that's that duality difference between the genders, is that if it happens to a woman, it's a bully coming down and attacking what is usually perceived as a weaker sex, though those terms are quickly going away. Where if it works the other way around, that's just a fun afternoon.
Yeah. I was wondering because I don't.
And she came up and hit on me, and what could I do?
Yeah. I just took it, man. I was.
Some people are suckers for an aggressive woman.
Yeah. You know what? I joke about that, but my wife was very aggressive when we met. She started calling me 2:00 in the morning, 3:00, sometimes 4. What are you doing?
Some say aggressive. Some say stalking.
Yeah. Like I'm asleep. I'm trying to sleep.
I'm trying to sleep.
Yeah. What do you want? And this is not a booty call situation. This was she wanted to have a conversation, and she
awake at 2 a.m.
Yeah, she woke up. She wanted to have a conversation. Okay, let's have a conversation. And she talked to me about 5. I think she wanted to see what I was doing. I think she wanted to make sure I wasn't out,
fooling around.
Yeah, and then she was like, "Okay, this guy just stays at home." I called him. He's at his art desk drawing. He seems. I heard some type of video game or something in the background playing something. I don't know. I think it was Star Wars. Someone was saying use the Force. And yeah, I'll settle down with him. He seems to be a good boy. Yeah, let's see here.
It's like that old meme. If you're worried about your kid staying at home, give him a guitar, then he'll be too poor to get him in a band, then he'll be too poor to buy drugs. The same thing with comics. Get him hooked on comics, and he can't afford anything else.
In relation to addiction, Professor Trico says, crack and printing. Satisfaction is in our blood. Oh, man. Those Kraken's going to come down on us. Well, they can't come down on us. I guess they're a non-entity now.
We can pick on them. They're dead.
Yeah. We're being sued by Ghost.
It's not the same printer. Not the same. Not the same people. I'm sure they were. Well, anyway, I was going to say they were upstanding, but they're out of business now.
Yeah. So, I wondered that any of those orders. I wondered that all the orders get refunded because I know when they first announced,
if they were printing in China, they could have got caught with the tariffs.
Yeah. You close up. Well, you have
anytime you print out of the country, you take your chances.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, the prices may be super low, and you might have been dealing with that company for years, but then all it takes is one little thing, one little tariff, one dock worker that's mad, somebody that thinks your books are awesome and wants to show them around. Who knows what could happen? Yeah, it's just another added possibility into the equation that could go south at any time. So
Yeah.
that's why I'd like I tell everybody, if you can, stay as local as you possibly can. So
Yeah.
even with me dealing with Prinny over in Windsor, I had to deal with the border guards, the customs officers coming in and out of Canada, and that got to be a hassle there towards the end. At the time I had 2 cars, and I realized that they had one of my cars tagged because I kind of got mouthy with one of the border guards, and they tagged my car. So every time I drove that particular car through, I got inspected. I was told to go over to the side, and there was 45 minutes gone as they went through my car completely.
Yeah. I had some friends that live in Canada, right over in Windsor, and I used to go visit them quite often. They were all dancers, and I had become friends with them all. And I noticed there was a point where
back in your wild oat days.
Yeah, and one of them I may have Canadian children. I'm just kidding, but yeah, they said one of the border guards told me, says, listen, at this point, you're spending more time in Canada than you are in the United States. You need to, you need to go home for you need to go home for a couple of days. I thought he was trying to keep him away from my my the girls I was stalking. I wasn't stalking. I was actually hanging out with the houses, and we were just, it was always, a good time. No drinking, no nothing like that. None of these girls smoked weed. Well, one of them did smoke weed, but none of that. Just
some relaxing play.
Yeah. I just like hanging out over there, and gosh, they,
the guard suggested that you stay home for a few days, just the computers have a time to rotate you through, or else I was driving back and forth. I figured out really quick that they figured I was smuggling drugs somehow, or at least I was on that list because I got mouthy with that guard. But I caught that little female, a little blonde, that was obviously having a bad day and did not like my response to her. And it it didn't quite escalate there being a problem, but that was the first day that I got inspected. And then after about the 4th or 5th time that happened, I happened to look inside the booth, and I saw that they had a camera pointed at the back of my car with my plate up in a screen in the corner. And I said, "Oh, well, my car's been tagged." So I started driving the other car across the border, no problems.
Yeah.
So
Professor Trico says, "Ambassador is one of the bridges Randy has burned in the past."
Yeah. Well,
yeah, and you've
that car is long gone, so I haven't been over into Canada since 9/11, but just the way it works.
Yeah, I haven't been over there.
I don't want to deal with the border people.
I haven't been over there since probably 08, 09, but
seems like it was rough before. I know it's going to be even rougher now.
Yeah, been over. I actually have another funny story about Canada, and it's a very quick one. I was, again, while hanging with my friends over there, and I had there was a guy who he said, "Oh, you live in the States?" And hey, do me a favor, man. Could you it's much cheaper over there for there was a supplement, a GNC supplement.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And so he says, much cheaper.
That story coming. Yeah.
So he went and asked. He said, "Can I give you some money, and you can keep the change?"
Right.
I'm like, yeah, sure. So he goes and gives me American money because he's Canadian. Like $50, and the stuff was only like 37, $38. But keep the change for your travel. Well, I'm coming back and forth over here anyway, so there's really no trouble, And I go to I'm in the mall. I see the stuff. I purchase a keg of it because it comes in this big, huge jar, and I take it over to Canada. I put it in my trunk, drive over the border. No one says anything.
Yeah.
This goes on for a couple of more trips, and I pull it out, and my friend Amy, she sees this, and she's, "What is that? Where did you?" I said, "Oh, this is forget the guy's name." And she's like, "Holy shit! You can't leave that in my house." that's illegal here.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
had
you got to know. You got
yeah,
to know the laws. Yeah.
yeah. I had no idea that I wasn't supposed to bring it over. It's like if you would have got caught with this, you would have been in some serious trouble.
Wow.
And that particular supplement was illegal,
Mhm.
and it was not supposed to be in Canada. So that was the last time.
Steroids and that. It's the same thing with pharmaceuticals. You know, that's what got Trump in hot water with the big pharmas. He was talking about making it possible for people here in the States to buy their pharmaceutical drugs over in Canada because it's so much cheaper.
What do you do, Randy, if you're a comic book publisher or artist or creator, and you have a show over in Canada and you get to the border and they won't let you over? What do you do? What do you contact the promotion or the promoter and tell them, hey, I've got some crossing issues, I need my money back? Or
what can you do, especially anymore, because they'll put you in the computer and you're stuck. You know? It's not like you could make a quick trip to Port Huron and cross over at Sarnia. You can't. You're in the computer. You're done. Because they'll catch you going across. Oh, you tried to break over, and then you're really done.
Yeah,
I never had a problem getting into Canada that I remember. I always had a problem getting out on the American side because that's when all of my problems, all of my inspections and that always happened. Because over there, I'm like going to printing. I got a printer over here in Windsor, just around the corner from the bridge, and I'll be there for a couple hours and then I'll be right back. Oh yeah, go ahead.
You know, I would get I know that I would go when I go over there.
The printer later told me to tell the guard that I was over there for the casinos because I'll get through faster.
Yeah.
Especially if you look at him and goes, I was just at the casino and I lost my ass. And then they're like, oh, sorry, bud, go ahead. Coming back to the States.
They would joke with me about that. I would go over there, go to the casino, and they start asking me, well, how much money do you have? And like, that's a little personal, but okay. I would tell them.
No, because they want to know how much you're bringing across.
Yeah. And so, you tell them how much you're bringing across, and they never ask to see it. They just ask, how much money you're bringing.
I'm surprised they didn't ask to see it. Especially if it was a larger amount,
They never. Well, I never had that much. I mean,
but then they'd know if you only had $20 in your wallet, you ain't going to a casino.
Yeah, and they would say, I remember. Well, I'll tell you that's another funny story about that, and it's geek related. So, but they at one point I just stopped. I stopped telling them I was going to casino. I mean, even if I would go there, I would go to change the money in, but I would go across the border and tell them, yeah, I'm going to Studio 4. And they would, if it was a male guard, I get a little smirk and go ahead.
Studio 4 or Studio 9? I thought Studio 9 or 19 was the big strip club over there.
Nah, Studio 4. It wasn't. Studio 4 was it was right off of
right on Windsor, right on the main drag.
Yeah.
Must have been Studio 4 then. I saw Vanessa Del Rio over there perform a burlesque show one time. That was we took I still every once in a while I can remember that name. We took a big artist from the 80s or 90s over there so that he could study Asian facial.
Oh yeah, I know who it was, but I don't want to say the name because he
we went downstairs and a guy in a 3-piece suit come out with a notebook catalog. Who would you like to see?
The good old days of comics. There's a funny story about that. Going over to Canada, I realized that I wanted the Transformers the movie, the animated movie, and at that time it was out of print. But apparently, at that point, Canada, you could find it in their A&P markets, in their the VHS, in their Kmart's, wherever you needed it. It was constantly available. Right. Transformers the movie, but it was out of print here in America, and so I'm like, well, I gotta get this movie. So me and my buddy jump in the car and we go to pull up at the bridge, and the lady's like, "Hi, what do you know?" I said, "Well, I'm going to Kmart." She's like, "What? I'm going to Kmart for what?" I said, "I'm getting a movie from it's called Transformers. It's only available here in Canada, and I need to get it because I haven't seen this movie in years." And this woman looks at us like we're crazy, and she's like, "Well, how much money do you have on you?" I said, "Well, the movie is $12.99. I've already called. The movie's $12.99. I have $20." And she's like, okay, I need you to go pull over. So they pull us over and they spread the car and they send us in.
That's a lousy excuse to cross the border, son. Obviously, you're carting drugs.
And and the guy's like, so what are you here for? I'm telling him, and another lady comes over and she's like, you guys aren't doing anything with $20. I'm like, ma'am, I'm going to get a movie. That's all I want is this movie. If you want, you can go get it for me. You know,
You can't take. Just
she
give
said,
me the damn movie.
yeah. She said, no, you guys are up to no good, and would not let me in the country to buy that movie.
Wow.
I was so upset. I'm like, are you? I don't think they realized the level of my geekery. That I wanted that movie.
This was long before anybody realized anybody's level of geekery.
Yeah, that I would drive.
Unless they figured you were crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that too. They should have.
This guy's nuts. What the hell is he doing over here in Canada just to buy a damn movie, eh?
Yeah. What's he on about?
Yeah. Now, if you'd come over to get some maple syrup, it'd be a different story.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah. Sorry, that was stereotypical.
Like we just lost all our Canadian viewers.
Yeah, we did. All one of them, maybe.
Yeah. Screw that Zimmerman.
Oh, and any Indie Volt. Now you're going to get emails from Indie Volt radio listeners. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just kidding. I'm sure you get picked on for your maple syrup all the time. Yeah, which is delicious. Anyway.
Yeah, I've had maple syrup. It's too rich for my stomach.
Too rich.
Now, Randy, I was asked a question by another artist on Facebook. He asked me, he said, "How do you keep?" I don't know why he asked me because I'm probably the worst person to ask this, as I failed at it. But he asked me, "How do you keep the pounds off as a comic artist? You're sitting all the time. You're traveling. You gotta eat fast food. How do you keep the pounds off?"
Well, I'm pear-shaped for a reason.
Yeah.
So, you know, we all have that. We all have that problem. It's artist hump. You just have to figure out how to, move more and eat less. That's the thing. Don't eat it. You're bored. That's the other thing.
Yeah. My doctor told me try to get up and walk around every hour or so because she was worried, and she's worried about how much time I spend at the art table.
I have two egg timers.
Yeah.
Because after an hour's worth of time, if you're not up and walking, there's a problem. And there are times I can sit at the board for 4 or 5 hours straight.
Yeah.
To not get up because I'm just that deep into concentration. Yeah. Anymore, I've got the bursitis in the shoulder that reminds me after a couple of hours that it's time to move if I don't have the timer working.
Mm-hmm. And then she's also concerned about heart attacks and stuff because blood clots. You're
sitting around a lot. You got to be careful with your chair. I got to go get another chair because I'm feeling it in the back of my leg because you don't want those. You can have clots form. For the longest time, I had an awesome ergonomic chair when I was working at my drawing table, where all of my weight was pushed down onto my knees. And I was sitting on an incline with another incline that my knee sat on. So my posture was better. I felt better, and all of the weight had slid down mainly to the legs and the front part of my knee. And there are those chairs out there that, my brother made that chair for me, and I used it for decades. Well, maybe not decades, but a good 15, 18 years. Just made it out of plywood and, had a little bit of padding on the knee area. You can still see those chairs every once in a while, but you do have to be careful with that. Your cholesterol is in danger. Your health in general is in danger if you don't get up and exercise. You have to keep, especially if you're working on a regular assignment, you have to keep a regular schedule running where you're at the board the majority of the time, but you're also up intermittently, even to stretch or walk around the block or whatever. You have to do it. And I've over the years, I've become a really big fan of quality time because I found myself, especially late at night, where I'm doing nothing but staring at the wall or staring at the board, and I'm not really working because I'm half asleep.
Yeah.
So get your proper sleep. Go when you're tired. It doesn't matter if you're in the middle of something. Go to bed. Set your alarm for 3 hours. If I'm on a tight deadline, I'll set my alarm for 3 hours and get up and get back to the board and see how I feel. And if I'm still not feeling right, I'll go back for another 3. and just get that sleep, because you work better, you work faster when you're awake and totally alert, And I'm like, I know you drink the Monster, and the energy drinks in that. Try not to do that. I mean, I drink coffee. I drink a lot of coffee, a lot of black, just black coffee, because it doesn't hurt the system nearly as much as constantly drinking those energy drinks and all the chemicals that are inside. You have to be, part of your existence is being health aware, not just art, but writing or any of that. You have to be aware that sitting in one position for too long is not healthy for you.
No,
even playing video games or binge watching television, you need to get up and walk around between episodes or whatever, just to circulate yourself. And I've had leg circulation problems, and I've always had ever since I really started drawing on a regular basis. I call it my artist hump, right there in the front of the belly, because you're leaning over all the time, and you're working and you're drawing. I've got a lot more conscious the last few months. I've been losing some weight, so it's all been good. You feel so much healthier once you start dumping that weight.
Yeah, I mean, it is very easy to put it on doing this job.
You're not thinking. You're working. You're working on what you're doing. Yeah.
You're working. It's very easy to reach over and grab that bag of cookies, something quick, take to the table with you. Very easy.
I do it when I'm podcasting. I'll munch on a little something, but I try not to keep that kind of food in the workspace. Well, you've seen my workspace anyway. I probably wouldn't trust a lot of that food in this area, but all of the dust and dirt down here in the basement. But you got to be healthy. You just have to be, because you're more productive when you're healthier.
If
and a lot of that also, Ty, and this goes back to comics. When you're working in independent comics, you're not really making a lot of money, but you're pouring a lot of your love in, a lot of sweat, a lot of learning, a lot of skill, and it's very easy to ignore the basic needs. Easy to do.
When on our show Tuesday, we talked about conventions and bridging the gap between promoters, publishers, trying to get people to understand that the publisher and the promoter of a show does have a financial stake, a huge financial stake now, we know, in running these shows. And we've always known it, but Mark Hyder's Grand Rapids Comic Con was very gracious enough to come on and share hard numbers, which I don't think a lot of other promoters would have
done. No, but he does. He's not afraid to do that. It's like this is what it was.
And I did get a lot of feedback from people who were saying that was one of our better shows. We also had Victor Andrews come in, and I did get a question now, because this is a morning show. I'm lazy and I didn't prepare any graphics for the question, but because it's weird. It's weird. I guess I'd have to do it on Wednesday. Yeah, like Wednesday night, do the graphics. Maybe I will. Maybe next Breakfast Buzz, I'll have some graphics or questions.
It's hard enough just getting you up in the morning.
Oh yeah.
on Thursday.
Yeah, what you guys don't know is I just rolled out of bed at 8:40. So, it's a good thing it's not a breathalyzer on this mic, because I haven't even brushed my teeth yet. Just up. But they not a breathalyzer. Breathalyzers for when you're drunk, right? Well, it's a good thing the mic can't smell my breath. There is
Indy Volt now available in Smell-O-Vision.
Yeah. Oh my God. People would people would be out of here. But I've got some. I did get a question. And it was about if promoters of Comic-Con ever considered giving, like doing, like, why do shows make attendees free in most cases? Now, I've only gone to one show where attendance was free. And I remember telling another artist about that show. I said, hey, the attendance is free. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yes. Oh, that's a bad idea. Are you sure it's free? Yeah, it's attendance is the first year. Attendance is free. And they said, that's a horrible idea, because as a promoter, you can't come back from that. When you do a free show, That's it. It's got anytime you try to put you if 3 years later you decide, okay, because of financial obligations, I gotta go back to charging an entrance fee that attendees don't want to pay it. Oh, well, I used to go for free. I didn't like it. So there's no way I'm giving you $10 to get in there.
Yeah, but that's also a cheapskate attitude for one. But if you're going to charge a fee, you better make it worth their money. That's the thing. With my shows, though I only do 1 day shows, 9 to 5, usually in farmers markets. I still charge $5 to get in, because for one, a 5 is a decent price. It's not too much, it's not too little, and for two, if you're able to pay, if you pay money coming into the door, it shows that you have a level of responsibility and a level of respect for the show. Not only do you want to be there to enjoy the show, but you want to be there to spend money, and you have money to spend. There's so many. My biggest problem in my thinking doing a free show is you're inviting people to come in and make trouble. Oh, it's a free show. We can go in and do whatever we want. We'll go in and do, mess with this guy or that guy or cause a ruckus or whatever. But if you have that investment at the door, you get that responsibility from the attendee, and it's not too much. They're not sitting there going $5. And we would get that the first couple of shows that we did, especially at the market. I ain't paid $5 to get in. Great. We don't want you here. You don't want to pay $5 to get in. You don't want to spend $5 for a comic.
Right.
It's all cool. See ya. We're happy you're not coming in. Absolutely, because you can't spare the $5. If you can't, and it also shows respect for the people throwing the shows, because it covers the cost. And like you said, Hodges showed you some of the costs that go into those larger shows. My costs aren't nearly that high, and it's still, for me, it's a major expense because of my budgets. It's a major expense to throw a show, and I have to cover that. I absolutely have to have a break-even point, or it stops being fun and the show stops.
At the same time, I had talked to that same artist who maybe we'll have on the show one day, and he'll admit that it was him that asked me these questions. But he said, I was telling him about my experience at this show, and I said, I felt really weird because the artist 2 tables down from me had books that were decent in quality, and he had a sign up that said pay what you can. And his idea on the books was, nothing's free, but pay what you can on the books. In a
large and free and open economy, that would be a cool idea, but at a show, I can't see where that would be very profitable.
Well, I told my artist buddy about this. He curates comics, been creating comics a lot longer than I have. And he said, I would have cussed the son of a bitch out. And I thought, like, wait a minute, but hey, what about brotherhood and solidarity? Wait a minute. We can't, can't go cussing our fellow artists out. I gotta be stuck at this show with this guy for 2-3 days. We can't, Yeah. And he's like, no, that's bullshit. That's, BS. You can't. He can't. If he does that, it cheapens the whole row. Everybody now is screwed.
I can see that line of thinking. Well, I got over there says pay what you can. I got $2.
Yeah. And I thought, I said, well, I hadn't thought of that, but as the years have gone on, I've thought about it. I guess I can see. I don't know what the chat thinks and what people listening think. Let us know how you feel about that. If your table neighbor at a show has a pay what you can sign, is that something that you really can't complain to the showrunner, but is that something you approve of? Is that something that you think is a good idea? Or something that you would try at a show? Pay what you can. I'll talk.
It's kind of like the admission fee into the convention, though. There's no coming back from that.
Yeah, that was at the same show, by the way.
I was here last year, and you said pay what you can, and now suddenly you want cover price? What the hell?
That was at the same show. It was a free show and pay what you can at the same show. My wife.
Everybody has to try something, and it's there at that time. I'm sure it was 5-10 years ago, right?
Yeah,
Was it?
yeah, about 6 or 7 years ago,
That's
actually.
about the time a lot of the radio or a lot of the musicians were putting albums out online with a pay what you can
Mhm.
line, and they were just trying to copy that market strategy. They were trying something to see if it would work.
Yeah,
So is that particular company still pay what you can?
I seen them this year at a show. I've only seen them at one show,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, still have the pay what you can, um, model that and they're still putting out decent quality stuff. But you know what? I did have a conversation with them this year, and they told me they only do like that one show a year. Sometimes they do another one occasionally, but they do that one particular show every year. And I guess,
How many products a year do you think they do?
well, it was all new stuff, but again, I hadn't been back to that show in 4 years. So
Okay.
yeah,
So
I
they've
think it
been
was
around. They had been around at least for 5 years.
yeah. It was some of the old stuff was still there, but I've seen a couple new things, some hardbound, um, and by hardbound I mean like the square bound books, probably no more than like 50
I'll
pages.
give you $2 for that graphic novel.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can pick it up at Ollie's for $1.99.
Would you pull your table neighbor aside after the show? Like maybe take them out for a beer and say, "Hey, look,
I think
buddy."
I'd shake my head a little bit at
Yeah.
their marketing that I didn't completely understand. But no, it's not my business to tell somebody how to run their business.
Mhm.
You don't. The people whose business you don't agree with, you just don't give them business.
Yeah.
That's all.
Do you think it hurts you though if you're seated next to them? Would you maybe tell the promoter of the show next year, "Hey, maybe don't sit me next to that guy," or
I don't know.
yeah.
I guess I would need to see the quality of their product and their reception. If they were
Mhm.
getting a large crowd around their table, maybe there's something to the marketing program that we should pick up.
Yeah,
So,
there was no large crowd.
well, there you go.
Yeah.
And you get what maybe people walking by think, well, we get what we pay for,
Yeah.
and would just leave them be. So everybody's out there, trying something. So
Pay what you can.
pay what you can.
Give me $8 for this. I like the artist I told about that. He says, you know what you should have did? Should have plopped $20 down and took everything. Like, thanks, here you go, $20 and took it all.
They had a lot of different stuff.
Yeah.
That might have been some reading.
Yeah.
Of course, you're talking to a guy who would did shows the last 10 years and throwing his product out on the table, begging people to take it.
Socialism.
Yeah, pretty much. It's all advertiser supported. We bring it to these shows to hand them out. So take one of each.
Did you ever have to stop anybody? Aaron, did anybody ever say, "Oh, free papers and things," and try to take like gobs? Like,
yeah, there might have been one or two, nuts, but you just tell them, please. On my sign that I have, I say, please take one of each.
Yeah.
So
we put candy on the table, and
that's what they call a lost leader.
Yeah.
You expect that to be abused.
Yeah. Well, this kid came by and he says,
yeah.
Is the candy free? I said, yes, it is. And this little jerk reaches into he does a claw and reaches into the thing and I said, whoa. Say something for someone else. What's wrong with you? I said it before I knew it. The inner dad, the dad in me came out. and he took 2 pieces and left. It's like, where are your parents? Where is your home training?
You can't at a show. You can't ever depend on that.
No.
You have to imagine that the kid. We used to have at the Flint shows. I had a kid that would keep coming up stuffing the door prize box with his name, trying to get a door prize. He'd do it over and over and over again. Just once I realized what was happening, once I saw him up there the 10th or so time writing his name down and stuffing it and walking away and coming back, writing his name down, stuffing it, walking away. I just reached in and figured out who his name was. And whenever it came up, I didn't announce it. I just kept, tossing it away. You can't really, slap a kid's hand. You can't slap a kid's hand anymore.
Yeah.
You can't yell at him.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And again, that's why you charge that $5, and kids 12 and under are free with a paying adult, because you want to have somebody hanging around them that's responsible.
Yeah, and that's
for
another
that
thing
kid's
too.
actions.
That particular show, one of the particular shows is free now. I've gone in it and I've seen some parents pull up and open the back door of that SUV.
Yeah.
And the kids pop out and they and they go in and the parent drives off. I'll be back in a couple of hours to get you. Thank God the show's in town. Here's the money, because they got food in there. So you'll be okay.
Yep.
Hang out for a while.
What kid's gonna without a responsible parent is gonna eat at a show? You know, depending upon how much into geekery they are. Yep.
Yeah. And I think that it's very important to do that, because that $5 fee can be a deterrent.
It is.
Just dropping your kids. And like your show says free, 12 and under with paid adult.
Yeah.
That lets the parent know, oh shit, I still have to be here.
Yeah.
Because otherwise
we don't want them running around like that, because then just too much trouble happens.
They'll take those little grenades and throw them right in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much. That's why a lot of these malls anymore are having rough times. They'll just run in.
I was
back after a while.
I gotta tell you, I was a little jealous about a week or so ago. Some of my friends up north, in Michigan, we say up north.
Up north means anything north of Saginaw or Bay City. Yeah.
They did a mall con. I was really upset. They were in the mall. They still do mall cons up there, and I'm like, dude, you have to tell me when they're doing another one, because I remember going to those when I was younger with my father. There used to be one at a mall in Livonia. That mall is no longer there, called Wonderland Mall.
Yeah,
and they would do a mall con. They're there in the Livonia Mall, and those are really cool. Sports cards, comic books.
Yeah. Those days are long gone.
Yeah, but they had one, and I'm like, oh my God, why didn't someone tell me? I would have loved to set up and did a mall con. Plus, there's always good stuff to eat there because you're in the mall. But I really want to do a mall con. So, Randy, get on it.
It's on my agenda.
Yeah, we'll do one at Great Lakes.
We have a couple of malls up here that are next to empty. That the small mall over here on Dort Highway used to have cons like that in there.
We'll do one at Great Lakes Crossing. How about that?
Oh, that would be a challenge, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. It would.
That'd be probably more headaches than what it'd be worth. Up here, though, we have Cortland Center that's pretty empty and pretty open. The thing is I'd probably take one of their storefronts and rent it for the weekend and run a con in there. Then you'd have an actual chance at keeping a gate and charging an admission. But I wouldn't want to do that without bringing in, somebody relatively big enough for people to want to come in and get an autograph from.
We mentioned on the show Tuesday again about how comic promoters should be treating invited guests, people that they invite to the show. And James O'Barr recently pinned a post. Wow, I'm getting wordy.
Posted.
Posted. His personal feelings on how it should be done. And, he says, you don't have to put me in first class, but if you're paying my plane ticket, at least make sure that and I guess there's a way you can pay to make sure that they board first rather than last.
Preferred boarding.
Yeah, because they could end up having to board last, and if you're an artist with a bunch of stuff you're bringing on, you get on there last, you're probably not going to be able to get your belongings.
Oh yeah, stashed.
Yep. He also said, they don't have to be the best hotels, but remember that that artist or that writer, that guest that you're bringing is in an unfamiliar town. You put them in a hotel. Ask if they have dinner plans. Ask if make sure they have a ride to and from the hotel, because they don't have a car. If they've been flown in, right? But is there ever, Randy? Do you think there's ever too much you can ask for as an invited guest?
Well, you're asking the wrong person.
I mean, because I don't have a writer.
Somebody like O'Barr, I think he has some very he has all really good points. as far as that goes. But Obar travels. I've known Obar to travel all over the place, all in Europe as far as that goes. In order to do shows, he's pretty well recognized because of the Crow. So yeah, he would be somebody. Anybody that you have fly in, you have to make sure that they're taken care of, transportation and all that. Yeah,
yeah.
That's only good. That's only good hospitality. You know, you make sure they're fed. You make sure that they get wherever they want to go, or you make sure that they're if they have friends there and they're going to go out at night between the conventions. You know, make sure that their entertainment's that there's somebody there to make sure that they have a decent time. You know.
And I
but if you're on your own, you drive to the show. You're on your own. You know?
Yeah, no one cares if you drive there. You're stuck to
yeah. You're welcome to come in. I got a table for you, but other than that, you're on your own.
Yeah, and yeah.
Now there are certain people at our show. We go out Friday, Saturday night. That most of the time where everybody's too exhausted to go. So, we just hit a decent restaurant and eat, and then we're, back to real life. We're sometimes we can be there until 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. A good table of us.
And now, I will say this too, because it's important. I should put this out there. I know he's listening.
At the Saginaw show that we did, I put up accommodation for people. It's the first time I've paid for hotel rooms for folks.
Really?
Yeah, because I wanted them there. So I had a hotel room too, because I didn't want to have to drive back to Flint and back up to Saginaw the next day.
I just, while we're talking about that, I should mention that I actually have a copy. A rider, for those who don't know, is what people who are a little bit more famous send ahead of their arrival to have ready for them, so that there's no question as to what that person needs. And I happen to have the rider of Professor Trico. So when he's invited guests to a con, Professor Trico demands red Skittles, red only. He does not want the Skittles to be multicolored. He wants the red ones only. He also asks for cold vitamin water, the Power C flavor. He does not like anything else. He needs rum, 2 bottles of rum, room temperature. I don't know. I do not understand why he needs a stripper pole. And he asked for $200 in small bills, 1s and 5s. So that is on Professor Trico's rider.
I'm sure it is.
As well as first class accommodation.
Being not the founder and all.
Yeah. Not the founder. He admits it. See, true. He admits it. That's on his rider. So, he should be ashamed of himself.
Never had that. Never had a kind of a rider. If a convention person wants to call me up and tell me what he's going to do, it's usually, that's fine.
Well, you're one of the few artists that gets paid for shows, so.
Right. We had that discussion.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to start a rider. I'm going to start what I must have.
Yeah. See how many shows you get invited to.
Yeah, my wife will make me add cigarettes on there because I don't smoke cigarettes, but she does, and
it's that red Skittles guy again. We're not having him. No, he wants too many oddball things. It's not just gonna. Yeah.
Randy, if you could get away with it, a rider, what would be that one gag thing you have on there? Like, oh shit, they actually did it. Would there be anything you'd ask for?
I want you to find a small 3-inch tall stuffed koala bear. Because that's what makes me feel at home. I don't know, buddy. It's just I've never been that big. So I'm just grateful somebody wants to give me a food stipend or offer a hotel room if I'm from out of town. That's fine. Nobody. I've only been. I'm trying to think. If I think I've been flown into 2 conventions as a guest in my life. I was paid to go for Bernie Wrightson for a while, but that was all part of the package.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, as a guest, I think I've only been flown in twice, and then I was incredibly well taken care of. So even though one show was pretty good and the other show was an absolute dog, I mean, absolute dog. We were stuck a story above and on off in a room about the size of a old style classroom for an artist alley room, and on that show, and we saw practically nobody the whole show. And it was I'm not saying which show it was or where, but it was in a disgusting, dirty town too. It was just the minute you got off the plane, you just had that nasty city, almost like day old vomit smell.
It was somewhere in Ohio, wasn't it?
No. That pervaded in the city the whole time. I've been in, and I've done other shows that I've driven to in big cities that were just horrible, just crud, terrible, horrible, with the meanest, most inhospitable people that you could ever imagine. It's like everybody had a 2x4 wedged right up there behind. And everybody at the show, everybody out of the shows, meanest, most hostile city I have ever been in. And I would do one show at that place and I would kill and make really great money, and I'd be excited. And the next year's rolling around going, yeah, I'm there. I'm definitely there, even though the people are rude and nasty and all of this. I'm definitely there. The next show I did nothing, absolutely nothing. So I didn't do it for a year. I came back a year after that and I killed again because, it was back when I was doing Aero Comics and I wanted to get the word out. So I figured, well, I'll go, even though the guys are rude and all this, and I'll just go for the publicity part of it and not expect to make any money. Boom, made money. So it was weird how that worked. I think I did it a 4th time and made nothing. I haven't been back, but that was back when I stopped printing. So
I was asked to, because I think that this is important to when you're traveling, and we mentioned this too. If you're going to take up this profession of being a comic creator, you need to understand too that you're going to be on the road a lot. So make sure you put money into your car. Get good tires. Sure you
have a dependable car. Yeah,
dependable car.
Yep.
And always be aware of what you are, where you're staying. Because ask around, talk to other artists. If you get in town and you don't have a hotel room, talk to other artists or local artists. Find out where there's a good place to stay. What's a good city? Yelp
comes in handy.
Yeah. Because there was another thing that I cannot stress enough. Because it's happened to me and it screwed me twice. If you are in a different state, call your credit card company, your bank, and let them know that you're traveling. Because they will freeze your card the minute you make that first transaction in Indiana, and you haven't notified them. They will, at sometimes, not all the time, but a lot of times they will actually freeze your car. I got to Cleveland and found out that they had froze my car. And not only had they froze my car, they had already canceled it and sent me out a new one.
Wow.
So I'm, all my money's on my card.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, wait a minute.
And again, that goes back to just doing your research. You got to know your bank. You got to know your bank rules. I've bumped into that as a commercial artist. I have a cap on my account for theft protection that I have hit my head against the wall. I would say 3 or 4 times when I'm trying to order shirts or apparel or product or that has to come in, and boom, I hit that wall limit. I have to run to it's a credit union. I have to run to the credit union and tell them that I'm spending more than my daily allowance on my card. And then after about the 4th time that happened, I had a lady look at me and go, why don't you raise your rate on your card? I said,
Mhm.
I didn't know you could raise your rate on your
Mhm.
card. Could you please raise the rate on my card? And then it was good to go. But even now, ATM wise, I can only hit the ATM for so much money
Yeah, I think mine is set
in a 24-hour period.
Mine is set at $500.
Yeah, I think everybody
And
does. I think that's
and
normal,
and you know what? I found recently that it's not like I was mistaken. I didn't know it was 500. I thought it was $500 I could withdraw.
though.
I didn't know that was like a $500 limit. So like if you as you're spending throughout the day,
Yeah,
it's going against that limit. And
yeah.
because at this one point where we got down to Cleveland and
Mhm.
couldn't check into our hotel,
Because you would hit
they
that limit.
yeah, well no, they froze my card because I had used it in gosh, I used it somewhere in Ohio. I used the card, and they in the time in the time it took me to get gas and get to my hotel,
Mhm.
they had froze the card.
Yeah,
And sent me out a new one.
yeah.
And so at that point I'm like, okay, well I only have X amount of cash, and we ended up having to like just go to a Red Roof, which was the Red Roof hotels that was actually decent, wasn't bad.
Everyone's different.
No, we stayed there 2 nights. On our last night though, we stayed at a different hotel that was cheaper, and boy, we found out why.
Yeah,
And
you usually get what you pay for when you're
yeah,
traveling like that.
yeah, it was a rough night, but that is just to show you that just make sure you figure out where you're staying.
You should make it part of your show prep, especially if you're going out of state, especially if you think you're going to be spending money. Even if you don't think you're going to be spending money, because you're going to get caught on the road. One of these days, your car is going to break down. You're going to be in a weird city, and you're going to have to deal with whatever local mechanic that you can find in order to get the thing fixed. That's happened to me a few times.
Yeah, I thank God it's never happened to me, and I probably will freak out the day that it does. But you just gotta get it fixed. You gotta kind of set that money to the side and hope that it never happens. But be prepared for it too. Be prepared for a flat tire.
I know. I think Dave the Supremist said he's never had a convention from hell yet, but there will be. Everybody gets one eventually.
Yeah.
Everybody does.
Buddy of mine, I don't want to put his name out there because he might get mad, but I'll see if he'll come on. He has the worst luck. We were at Wizard World Chicago. They allow you to pull your car into the convention center to load up, even in Artist Alley. And he and I, my wife, and 2 other artists were talking, and it was the last night, and we were trying to figure out where we were going to go eat. And they suggested this taco place around the corner, which I thought was good. My wife said it wasn't, but I thought it was good. Anyway, we're standing there trying to figure out where we're going to eat, and out of nowhere, I forget the name of the comic company. It wasn't their fault, but they were loading the convention center's union. They were loading that company's belongings up, and they had these big, huge black and silver cases. Like these things are like 9 feet tall, they're probably 9 feet long.
It's barely big enough to fit into a semi.
Yeah, I mean, the cases are huge. This guy is wheeling them. Well, out of nowhere, he comes and he just smashes into the back of my buddy's car.
Ouch.
And I see it happening like in slow motion, and wham, and I'm like, and he turns around to see his car move. His car moved about a good foot. That's how hard he hit it. Wham! And the car moves, and he's like, "Are you shitting me?" Because he just had the car fixed from when someone hit him like a month ago in another city when he was at a con.
Wow.
So he was like, "Are you?" And he went over to his car. There's damage. Pretty extensive damage, and he was able.
Was it still drivable?
It was still drivable. He took pictures of it. We ended up having to stay additional hour and a half while the convention center got the footage. And you know what? The forklift driver, he could have give less than a damn. He was, I guess, hey, I'm union, F you. And he's like, yeah, it was parked there. I didn't see it until I came around the corner. He wanted to try to make up a lie, like, oh, he was allowed.
I don't know why this guy had his car there. He's not supposed to be parking there.
Yeah, he totally smashed his car. Didn't even apologize, and that was really what my buddy was pissed about. It was like he couldn't even give me an apology. The convention, the venue manager was more apologetic than the guy who actually hit his car. So be prepared for stuff like that to happen to you
out of the blue.
Out of the blue. Get to a city, a big convention's in town. You're there. Be prepared till your room was canceled.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, your room was canceled.
We don't have any record of that, sir.
Yeah, we don't have it. I got into at the time I used to use hotels.com. And I was just going as a convention attendee, but I got to the show and I walked into the hotel and the guy's like, we've been sold out for months. I told him not to take any more reservations. And I got really, really pissed. And I called hotels.com and I got a lady and she's like, yeah, well, sorry. Well, hold on. Let me see what I can do. Okay, I can get you into the Days Inn. It's like, you might be able to even see it from where you're standing. And yeah, I can. It's like 2 parking lots down. I can literally walk to it. But, you guys didn't, and you'll get a credit because it's cheaper than the one you got, the one you had. Well, I had the one I had because it was a nice hotel. Mm-hmm. I wanted to stay there and not at the Days Inn, which I guess nothing wrong with the Days Inn either. I've never stayed at the Days Inn.
I've done shows where I was promised a room that they didn't have for me. And I had to wait 2 or 3 hours while they set up accommodations down the street.
Yeah. So be prepared for that. Be prepared for you know what my wife does?
Murphy's Law. You usually find it happens at least one show. That's that show from hell. Anything that can go wrong will, and just boom, 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 one right after the other.
Yeah, my wife has been very helpful to shows because she always brings Pepto.
Yeah,
because you go out of state and you eat somebody's different cuisine. There's a place in Ohio.
I had a muffalata in New Orleans once. So talk about a palate cleanser.
Mm-hmm. There's a pizza place in Ohio. Delicious pizza, but the minute I wasn't finished with my first slice before my stomach told me that was a bad idea.
Yeah, whatever you ingested.
Yeah,
we don't like it. We ain't keeping
it. Yeah. We've already got the nutrients out of this we're gonna get. It's coming right out.
You're trained to hell.
Yeah, and at this point, I should tell you, I was too proud at this point to use rest stop bathrooms. So it was a long 4-hour trip back to Michigan, and it was white knuckled. I was,
that can't be good.
Yeah. I got home, but because it didn't really. My stomach started hurting in the restaurant. It didn't get really bad until I got like midway through Ohio. Now I don't have that pride anymore.
Guys shouldn't be afraid to use restroom bathrooms. It's the women and the upkeep of the bathroom that they need to worry about.
Yeah. My wife has told me that women's bathrooms at any given time are far worse than men's.
Yeah.
She says
they can be, from what I hear.
Yeah. She's like, your bathrooms are okay. Ours are the ones that you probably should worry about.
That's why they call them S-holes,
Yeah. Let's see here. All right. So, and Randy, I have one more question for you.
Sure.
So let's just say, as you're invited guest to a show.
Mm-hmm.
You're invited. Would you get a little upset? Like your table's free, your flight was free, your accommodations. Would you get a little upset if you found out that my wife says they are horrible? The bathrooms are horrible. Would you get upset if you got to a show and noticed that you weren't on the marquee? Like you weren't advertised?
That's happened before. Yeah. Well, who comes to the shows to see me? Especially in the last 10 years, it's all been local, or I throw my own shows, or stuff like that. But yeah, I've done shows where I haven't been on the marquee. I've done shows where I was listed as a guest, and they gave me they ended up giving me like a exhibitor badge, and it didn't let me into the green room.
Mm-hmm.
There were a couple shows like that when I was doing a regular show every year for well over 20 years. And was always a guest, always a guest, always listed, no matter what I had done that year, what little I had done that year, always a guest. In fact, we were, there were a few of us there that were competing. You know, you were sick 3 shows ago, so you missed one, but I've done every one. You know, and it was a long standing show. And I'm sure you know which one that is. They listed me as a guest and gave me a freaking exhibitor badge. And I go back into the green room because there was a time when I actually had some time to breathe and I wanted to go get something to eat. And boom, the guy, the gatekeeper there wouldn't let me in because I had the wrong badge. Oh my God. You know, and from that time on, when I would call and ask to, because after that, they started getting more and more strict. You'd call and ask to attend.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a guest, right? You're going to have me listed as a guest,
Yeah.
right? I'm there as a guest. Okay. That's great. I'm going to be a guest, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. You know,
and you know, I've gotten guest badges by mistake. I did
and it's not like, and I know there have been other people that have abused the privilege a lot. I mean, where they'll come in, they'll set up and they know exactly what time the green room opens and they're right there to get the good food right at the start.
Yeah.
They come back to their table for a couple hours and run back to the green room and have lunch, come back, and they know when the green room closes so that they can sneak in a half an hour ahead of time and have all 3. So they've eaten for the day off of the convention.
Yeah. There's a
that's not what the green room is there. The green room is not there to feed you. The green room is there for you to relax for a few minutes and get your bearings and go back out and meet the masses.
They once made a mistake and gave my wife and one of my booth girls guest badges. And I didn't know women could eat like that. But I went back there first. So it was my fault. I went back there first and got something to eat. Gabe says in response to our rest stop question, he says, I don't know about that. My dad got approached at a rest stop bathroom. Now, Gabe, was he approached by a male or female?
Probably a male. That's the rest stops, at least here in Michigan, have a bad reputation for gay activity.
I wouldn't.
Back during the sleazy days, especially.
I I've never seen a lot lizard. I know about them. But
a lot lizards, but those are usually semis.
Yeah. Gabriel says male. A male. Yeah.
Yep. I've stepped on a guy's foot before when I was sitting at a stall, and the guy's, you try to communicate by sliding your foot under the door. It's like, not interested, dude.
At least he didn't slide something through like the glory hole, like right next to your face.
Oh, those are really sleazy bathrooms. Yeah.
It just slides out your leg.
You always look for holes anyway. Not the sleazier, but it's hard to drill a hole into a metal petition anymore, though. So.
No, I mean, only people watching on video can see this, but you're sitting there using the bathroom, and all of a sudden there's just hey.
That's what the finger's for.
Yeah.
Twink. Twink, twink. Mind your own business, bud.
Yeah.
But usually it doesn't take very long for you to remember where the sleazier restrooms are, and those are usually the ones that get refurbished here within a couple of years anyway.
Gabriel says, careful of that. Might think you like it. Might think you like the rough stuff.
So you tell them you're not interested.
Yeah.
Along with the pain.
Yeah.
Just a little reinforcement. Hey, there's a foot. Not interested, bro. Not interested.
Yeah, that's the things we have to deal with as comic artists. Now,
life on the road, dude. It's just everybody, traveling salesman, I'm sure, run into the same problems.
Randy, this happened to a friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
He talked to me about it in confidence, but I did tell him that I don't have time for it on the wheel. We'll decide. So I'm going to ask you exactly when your red flag meter would have went off.
Okay.
So you are at a show.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You are well, in his case, he's married. So he's a married man. His wife trusts him completely.
Mm-hmm.
He's at a show. His wife knows that he does some erotic art.
Okay.
You are hurting for money. A young lady comes up to you on Thursday preview night and says, "Hey, I'm looking to have a picture drawn of me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a cosplayer,
Mm-hmm.
not a professional cosplayer, but I'm looking to get into a professional cosplay.
All right.
But I'm looking at a picture drawn of me in this medieval Game of Thrones type of clothing.
Yeah.
I want you to. I want to be removing it though, pulling it off."
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Okay." She says, "But I don't want it to be like, I don't want to have these huge, humongous, comic book boobs or proportions. I'd like you to use my actual proportions,
Yeah.
But so
Yeah.
I want, but I do want to be, just disrobing."
Uh-huh.
And he says, "Okay." And so he's like, "Well, let me come up with some ideas." And he does some sketches, and she comes back like an hour or two later, says, "Those are okay. I really do have some ideas." She shows him the costume on her phone, and she says, "Look, I do have a couple poses I would like to do, but I don't feel comfortable sending you those images because
Okay.
of me, disrobed."
Yeah.
So far, no, nothing. Okay. So
No.
you don't, there's no, okay. How about, what are you doing later? How about I come to your hotel room, I'll pose,
Mm-hmm.
and you draw me then?
Okay.
No red flags?
No, because
No.
we've talked. A group of us professionals have talked about doing that in the past.
Yeah.
You know what I would tell her though? The big key is you don't want impropriety to spring up.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, do you mind if I bring a couple of other artist friends? Because we have always talked about using a live model and sitting around, at a hotel room and doing life drawings with a live model.
Mm-hmm.
You want to do that? You'll get 3 or 4 different artist interpretations of your stuff.
Well, she came to his room.
Uh-huh. That's the red flag.
Yeah.
Right? That's the big no-no.
Yeah.
You don't do that. Not at a show, especially even male or even married or unmarried. Don't.
Yeah.
Don't ever allow that to happen without somebody else being there.
She came to his room.
Unless you've already, and if that's your game and you're single and you've arranged for, a little hanky panky, that's fine. But don't ever allow a woman to come to your hotel room if you're a guy.
Yeah.
Ever. Drawing, get your book or whatever, because that leads to trouble.
Yeah. Well, she came to his room.
Uh-huh.
He did the photo. He was a little upset because she came to his, and that sounds so bad. She came to his room a little sloshed a little bit. She had a couple drinks.
That happened.
She changed she didn't come dressed that way. She came, she changed into it in the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
And she posed, on his bed, and she did the posing, and he drew the picture.
Mm-hmm.
The next morning, because he inked it overnight, she left. He inked it overnight and gave it to her.
Mm-hmm.
And he says ever since then, like, she's messaged him, and she's been like, he says she's been a little like super defensive. Like, you haven't made any prints of this. You didn't take any pictures of me, did you? You don't have any camcorders running, did you?
Yeah.
And so he's like, no, the only picture that exists is the picture that I drew. And so he's like, he's wishing he never would have did that picture. He's wishing he never would have took the time to work with her because he feels that it's going to come back and bite him in the butt.
That's why you have to watch your propriety on that.
Mm-hmm.
You have to. Why don't you come up to my room? I'm going to have at least one other buddy there who's also an artist. We want to do life drawings. Yeah. If you can't handle more than one person in the room, there's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? He even maybe should have brought. I mean, I bring my wife to all my shows with me. If you had your wife with you, it would have been great. Yeah, my wife is up there too. Come on,
that too. Yep. Not just that, but there's so many. If you were to go around, especially back in the 80s and 90s, and go, hey, I got I got a girl who wants to do some life modeling. We're all gonna meet at room, whatever. She's gonna be sitting on the bed in whatever state of dress that she prefers, and we're all gonna sit around and draw her. The room would be jammed. The room would be jammed with artists and with sketchbooks that will want to sit there and draw that girl. And 9 times out of 10, that girl's just going to soak up the attention
and perverts
and be happy. Yeah, well, we're all there. That goes back to the 80s and 90s misogyny that used to be the comic market. You can't try to take that out of context. You just have to look at it for what it was, and that's what it was. But we were always talking about doing some sort of lifestyle. That's why a lot of us used to sneak out with sketch pads whatever town we were in and go to strip clubs and ask, hey, I got a sketchbook, because not only could you get your lifestyle drawing in, but you usually got, a free dance or two because you did a sketch.
Yeah.
You get the practice. And of course you don't keep the picture. If you get free dances, you give her the picture. Yeah. Here you go. And obviously she liked the picture because she took time out of her work schedule to reward you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fair trade.
Professor Trico says, have you guys ever seen people listing themselves as guests at a con, but they aren't famous enough to get people in the door, so it's doubtful they are getting the table for free? Then they have the nerve that people are selling prints of them. LOL. Yes, Professor Trico. I've seen that. I've seen that. I think that when people do you hear that plosive when I said P? Wow, gotta put the screen protector back up, or the spit guard. When people do that, when people
are we talking cosplayers here or what?
No, we're talking creators, comic book talent. When people do their own press and they're like, hey, I'm a guest at this show, but you paid. Like there's a lot of people who will say, I'm a guest of the show. No, you're an exhibitor. You paid. You paid to be here. A guest to me denotes that you were asked to be there. You were given a table. You were, so you are a guest of the show.
That's the fringe. Is you were, a lot of times I'll do it and be listed as a guest, but then again, a lot of times somebody comes up to me, and I've had this happen at a show. It's even the bigger shows, which really startles the hell out of me, come running up going, I paid the entrance fee just so I can come in and talk to you. And I'm like, really?
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay.
I've
talk about, let's go.
I did. I tell you what, the funniest thing that ever happened to me was I seen a customer walk past my table with a Last Call comic shirt on. He didn't stop. He was walking through the convention. He had a Last Call comic shirt on.
I already seen that guy, and it was the day before watch day. What can I say?
And I was like,
"There's a comic shirt."
Yeah. And I was like, "Holy crap! Look, I'm thinking somebody bought him that shirt. They bought it for him, and he didn't. And he said, "Oh, it's a comic book shirt. I wear it." And he didn't even know what Last Call comics was. He didn't realize, hey, I walked past that booth. Let me stop and talk to those guys.
Well, depending on how big the show is, too, he could have just been distracted or had a single purpose. He wanted to get to point A to point B and didn't have time to talk.
Yeah. Our shirts actually, I don't think I think women usually buy our shirts more than guys. It's weird, but
which can get kind of suggestive.
Yeah.
Hey, baby, really Last Call, because I have a ship I want to bring into port.
We have Professor Trico. Yeah, there are
you don't have to read comics at home. You just can't read them here.
There are I've seen creators do that, and I think it is really sad. Another thing that I've seen a creator the day after Stan passed away.
Here we go with that again.
Yeah. Oh my God! I cried. I was in the hospital when Stan died, and I was drugged up, so I didn't cry as much as I would have.
Yeah,
but I was very sad. And this guy though got on social media, and I mean, teary-eyed, angry at God, and he's like, "My mentor is dead," and I quickly, even in this the drug state I was in, I quickly ran to my dictionary on my computer, my phone, because I wanted to make sure the definition of the mentor hadn't changed.
Right.
And I'm like, well, mentor, you would have to know that person, and you meant role model, and
Yeah, well, a lot of people interchange that.
yeah, mentor, role model, but there are people, and now guest of Con. I'm the guest of the show, but then, like you said, Trackers, the nerve thing that people are making money off of them. I think it is just it's really like just that ego gets too big and sometimes needs to be popped. Just bust the bubble a little bit. But here's the problem: when that bubble gets burst,
usually always happens. I've seen it happen.
When that bubble gets burst, they get mad, like because they live in this reality.
We all have our egos,
Yeah, but listen, I you know what the best remedy for ego is? Get married.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
My ego gets my bubble gets burst on an almost daily basis.
Yep.
And
we all get that big head.
Yeah.
At times, So.
Yeah.
That's my wife. She'll throw her hands if somebody recognizes me. She usually throws her hands up and goes, "I can't take you anywhere." So, it's always funny. It's always that little ego boost to be recognized when you're out and you're not expecting it. Hey, are you Randy Zimmerman?
Yeah.
I can't take you anywhere.
Yeah. Like I warned you at the break.
I might be. Do I owe you money?
Yeah. Only time you don't want to get recognized is at the strip club. Hey, you were here yesterday. Hey, no, I wasn't. She's here with me now.
Oh, yeah. Well, wife of the clubs,
Oh, mine loves it. Mine loves it.
I know, but even
yeah.
You were here yesterday and you didn't bring me. I'd be that. It'd be like that if I were to walk with Monica into a casino and they recognize me. Hey, you were just here yesterday. Oh man, I'd be in trouble.
No, that wasn't me. No,
there were times that she would throw me when back when she was years ago, back when we had the same, if ever we had the same schedule, there'd be times that she'd throw me out of the house and say, "Go do research. Go, just go to the club. Get out here." Just because she wanted peace and quiet and had stuff she had to get done. So
yeah, my wife is. I know there's times where she's tired of me when she says, "Yeah, you go ahead and go." But she's at the comic store. You say, "Yeah, no, I'll stay here. You go ahead and go."
Well, she did. Monica doesn't do conventions with me because she did one, and that was enough for her.
Which convention? Well,
I don't remember. It was out of town. I remember that. It was a long time. It's like 30 years ago.
Was it a big one?
It was a pretty big one. I remember Flint Henry was there at the time. He was doing, I think, Grimjack, if I'm not mistaken. She was a big fan of Grimjack. So she even got to meet, somebody whose work she enjoyed, and it still bored her out of her mind. So no, I take that back. She's done a couple of shows with me because she traveled with me over to Chicago one time. I remember that because old Sergio kept giving her the eye.
Trico mentioned that people they will assume people are making money off of them and those egos, and you have to check them at the door. Really?
Oh yeah, They're you learn after a while.
There are people
understanding your ego checks in.
Yeah. I mean, Randy, I will say that some people in this industry, and we deal with them on a constant basis almost. They get this perception of reality. And a friend of mine, he actually took it to another level that I hadn't thought about. Is that whole thing about being a creator. You start thinking that you are God, that you are bigger than what you what you really are. Mm-hmm. And you get this idea in your head that you are like God's gift to comics or God's gift to the industry. You're the best artist, you're the best writer. Yeah. And when someone tells you you aren't, they're either a hater or you try to use what limited power you think you have to get that person out the industry. And
Or anymore, if you just vote the wrong way in a political election.
Yeah, yeah.
All of a sudden, you've got a lot of haters.
Yeah.
You get shoved out of the business, and you have to make your own way.
I think that some of the and I would also like to say that some of these people wouldn't have voices if it wasn't for Trike. I'm just kidding. I like to send jabs at Trike, but in reality, we do need a nice cleansing of the comic industry, especially the independent market.
I think we're getting that now. I think we've been getting that the last 30 years, technically, because I've bumped into my share of egotistical a-holes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, most of them usually don't last very long. Some of them are misunderstood, and some of them it's just an act. You know.
I watched a meltdown of an artist on social media. I guess he wasn't after a couple of after a couple of years and not getting, I've been doing this for 2-3 years or 4 years. I'm not any more famous than I was when I started. I quit. And he stormed off and he changed his profile picture to something pretty drab, like a casket or something, for a couple of days, and he shut his fan page down. And it was a bizarre thing to sit back and watch.
Mm-hmm.
This person, like, just, and they went through their Facebook profile, took down any mention of conventions, any art they ever posted.
That pin popping that balloon too.
Yeah. It was like that balloon.
Did he stay out for long? Because some people aren't meant to be in the business.
Oh yeah.
They have to be in the business,
gone. Nothing to do with comics. No comic posts. If something comes up about comics, so like when Endgame came out, it was, this movie, Well,
I've seen people with talent, just incredible talent, that have gone on to have wonderful, long-standing careers at shipping companies because they just can't. They just can't take it, And I've had, on the other hand, I know a few people that have absolutely no talent and no ability whatsoever that just stay like bad pennies in the business and just won't go away.
Now,
let alone realize their worth.
I want to take that one step further, because now what we have on the flip side of people who are actually putting out, who think that they are much better than they are, we have another problem. Mm-hmm. We have people who aren't putting out, who have concocted these ideas that they are huge, that they are, just.
There have been hundreds of people asking me this very important question that I absolutely have to address.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, I've gone to pages. I went to.
Is that what you're saying?
I was at a con, and there was a guy who considered himself world famous.
I've run into people like that. Yeah.
And it's like, and you go to their table and you never heard of them. Mm-hmm. And you're looking at this. I mean, you do a quick search because you don't want to feel stupid. Like,
you're leaving? Yeah. Oh shit! I should probably take you into work. I gotta go take the wife in.
All right, and we can end it because we're at 2 hours. So,
I thank you for muting. I probably should have done that, but there's nothing there outside of shit. But cool. Yeah, we should probably end it. But yeah, we can. Egos.
Yeah.
What can you do?
Yeah.
These people usually have a comeuppance, and some people are actually world famous, and you sit there and you wonder why.
Yeah. All right, sir. I will see you. I will talk to you a little bit later today. Thank everyone for watching the Breakfast Buzz, which is brought to you every Tuesday at 9 a.m.
Thanks for listening in, you Indie Vault Radio people. We appreciate you. We appreciate everybody. Please tell your friends, subscribe to Indie Vault, Zim Geek channel. Whenever you've got nothing else to do, pop over there and tell your friends. We need more subscribers. We need more likes.
And with
Go ahead.
more likes, more subscribers would really help us out. And you can catch us next Tuesday or this coming Tuesday at 9 p.m.
Yep.
All right, we'll see everybody then. Until then, you guys have a great weekend.
Take care. Have a good day.